Hello, everybody, and I am back once again for another video. So, a friend of mine, actually, I need my glasses on to read. A friend of mine told me about a video game called Dead by Daylight, and I just started playing this year, 2020, and really at first, I didn't know when I was told, hey, I recommend this game. I think you would like it. I didn't know what to think because I watch some horror stuff, but it's more ghost type films. I'm not really big into the cut 'em up, slasher kind of stories. I want something that makes me think and is more like jump scares and stuff. Because when I watch a horror film, I tend to watch and figure out, like, okay, what could have the survivors done better? Like I try to look at all the mistakes they made. Like, for example, I was watching Leatherface, and there was a scene where they're driving down the road in a truck. It's a couple, and the boyfriend stops and the girl sees a little kid in the road wearing a creepy mask, and she goes, "Something's wrong. We gotta help." And then, of course, she ends up getting killed. And I'm like, you idiots, you just keep going. If someone stops in the middle of the road wearing a creepy mask, you either turn around and go back the other way, or you just go around them. But this was a kid, and he wasn't blocking the road, so they could have easily they went past him and then stopped and turned around. They could have just kept going. So I'm like, you guys are idiots. But I just find myself not being the biggest fan of horror films. I like some of them. But so I was kind of skeptical, because I do like Michael Myers at least, and Ghostface. So there were a few that I enjoyed. So I'm going to talk today about Dead by Daylight. So my first experience was as the survivor. So as a survivor in Dead by Daylight, you are trying to power 5 generators, which I believe there are 7. So you have 4 survivors. And the goal of the survivor is to power the generator. You do this by skill checks. So you'll have like a circle that'll spin. Sometimes it goes all the way around, sometimes it's instantly. And you have to hit the right button at the right time within the little meter in order to get a successful skill check. If you fail the skill check, it alerts you blow the generator, it sets back some progress, and it alerts the killer where you're at. So that is like that one of the downsides. As a killer, you have what pallets, or as the survivor, sorry, you have pallets. So if a killer's chasing you in a loop and they're closing in, you can knock down a pallet to try to slow down their progress. However, if they hit you right as you're putting down the pallet, like they can hit you before you get to it sometimes. So it's all about timing. When you do get hit, you get a speed boost as the survivor. So when you get hit, you want to just keep going. And you also want what they call jungle gyms, to where you just go in a circle, and if the killer tries to cut you off, you just go back around, and basically you're trying to waste the killer's time. So if someone's chasing you, ideally you make it annoying and unproductive for them to chase you. So you annoy them to the point where they either just keep going and they rage quit, or they just say, screw you, I'm going to go kill somebody else. So the idea as a survivor is, with the loop, or what they call jungle gyms, you ideally want to keep the killer chasing you, but keep some distance enough to where they can't hit you. But some killers, like the clown, can throw a bottle and slow you. Other killers have like traps and such. So you want to be very careful with that. It's all about timing and everything. And then also, as the survivor, you have totems you can cleanse. You After you do get all 5 generators powered, you can either find trapdoor and escape, or you can get to one of 2 exits, and it takes so much time and is really loud, and you'll hear a heartbeat as a survivor when a killer's close. So listen for that. And usually the killer is like a red light in front of them that alerts you, and when you see the red light, that means they're right on you. So you want to figure out something. And I've watched streamers such as True Talent play as survivor and killer. And there's different perks as a survivor, and offerings and add-ons. And as you level up, you can get up to 4 perks as survivor or killer. As the survivor, though, your goal is to make it out alive. Now, for the killer, you want to hit the survivor, and if you have them a second time, you down them, you pick them up, put them on the hook. As a survivor, you just want to sit there because if you try to escape yourself, you only have a 4% chance of actually succeeding, and if you fail, you go into phase 2, and if you fail that, you go right into death. So ideally, you get hooked. Killer, if they're cool, walks away and goes to other stuff, and then someone saves you. You get hooked a second time, you go into phase 2 and struggle, and then they save you again. The third time, it's insta death. So, as the killer, I'm going to talk about a little bit about the killers. So, I have played as some of them. The trapper is considered a difficulty easy for new players, and he basically places bear traps throughout the map, and survivors can step in it, and you'll be alerted whenever they step in it, and then you go and get them and place them on the hook, and then walk away and go hang out and do other stuff and try to find other survivors. And survivors, when they run, leave red scratch marks, and as the killer, you can try to track them down. Sometimes they go in a locker, which isn't ideal because then if you're walking, it's fine because there's scratch marks. But ideally, you want to go in a place that has a lot of lockers. So that way, if the killer checks one locker, you can escape in the meantime. But some killers check lockers, some don't. I do not advise lockers unless you're just walking as a survivor, but as the killer, you can check there. So you have the trapper, he does bear traps. The Wraith, I enjoy playing as. I have him up to level 9. And the fun thing about the Wraith is you can cloak, which increases your speed, but you can't hit when you're cloaked. So you cloak, and then you speed up, get close to them, uncloak, and then hit them, and then hang them. So he is a very good killer. I would say that there's a little bit of learning curve to him, but he's pretty fun. The Hillbilly, pretty easy to use. He can move quick, and he has a chainsaw. So that's an insta down. It's just with the chainsaw, you have to be very accurate. And pallets do, if they're dropped, you can't do much with the chainsaw. So you have to break down the pallets. Now, when I watch the streamer, True Talent, what he does is, let's say the survivor drops a pallet, you go around and get them, knock them down. Before you pick them up, you break the pallet. That way, it doesn't come into play anymore. And once a pallet's broken, that's it for that pallet for the rest of the game. They have what's called god pallets that are really hard to defeat. So it's all about timing. You have the nurse, who I have not played as yet. She can blink through obstacles and is considered a hard one, but is one of the best killers in the games. Whenever you look at like tier rankings of different people who play a lot and rank them, the nurse always comes in usually pretty high up. So she's a very good killer. She can blink, so that's really cool. Next, you have the hag, considered intermediate. So you have a triangle trap you can place in the mud. Ideally, you place it next to generators and hooks, and you want to place it in like tall grassy areas so no one knows where they are. And whenever someone walks by it, it basically alerts you, and then you can teleport there. But it puts a decoy copy of you, so they think that you're there anyways. So it's really cool. I've seen some perfect games with hags, and they're a really good killer. The doctor is considered a hard killer to learn, but he has Carter's Spark, which allows electrical charges, which temporarily incapacitates survivors and hallucinates. So it reveals their position. You can get up to them and get them. The doctor, I went against a doctor, and my attitude changed because all 4 of us got killed. So if you know what you're doing with any killer, you can win and get all of the survivors. So I will say that this is all opinion. There's no definitive way to really rank killers because everybody has different play styles, different people they enjoy. If you really just focus on one killer for a long time, you can eventually get good with them. Michael Myers, the shape, the first time I used him, I killed all 4 people. But there's been a couple of games where I haven't gotten anybody, so he's considered hard to use. The Halloween theme song plays whenever you close in on survivors, and he's a very fun killer though. And I think the first match I played, I just got lucky but if he stalks, he gets faster. So you have like a trigger to stalk survivors. I don't know why I did this, but you can stalk a survivor and then like track them down. Really good killer. The Huntress, an amazing killer. This is considered intermediate. You have a hunting hatchet you can throw from a distance, and you need to angle it right. But you also go to a locker if you run out and refill, and it's pretty quick to refill. But she sings a song when she closes in on somebody. There's the lullaby she has, and she is a fun killer. I actually had a couple of matches with her that I did pretty well, so I highly recommend her. You have the Clown, which a lot of people don't like him, but you have bottles that basically he's an alcoholic clown. It's a poison. You throw the bottle. It slows the survivor slightly, and then you pick them up. You have a knife you hit them with, and then you put them up on the hook. But I watched a perfect game with the clown. The clown can be a good killer if you know what you're doing. The spirit, she has phase walking, and so allows her to teleport. A good killer if you know what you're doing. I watched True Talent do a good job with her, and she is a very good killer if you know what you're doing. Once again, I emphasize that every killer is viable if you know what you're doing and you practice. The Plague. So I have not played as her, but she can vomit. So the Vile Purge, she can vomit, and you have to find a way to cure yourself. But I have seen very little of her, so I don't want to give you too much information that is inaccurate. Next, we have Ghostface, considered a hard killer. Now, he likes stalking, and he actually can go into stealth. You could be stealthy with him if you like. I actually had a couple of games with him that were really good, and I have him up to level 9. He's a very fun killer as well. I recommend him. I think you will like him. Demogorgon, I have yet to play as, but you can open portals and go through them to cover large distances. So let's say I hook somebody, I can put a portal by the hook, and when somebody unhooks, I can go through the portal. Now, the survivor can destroy the portal, but it takes some time, and you can have multiple portals throughout the map. I forget how many, but there is a number. And the Demogorgon, I have watched some really good games with the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, so he's pretty good. The Blight is one of the newer killers. There's another new killer that's being beta tested now, but the Blight is considered hard. He can burst forward, but he also bounces off obstacles. So you want to try to avoid bumping into things because it slows you. But he looks pretty fun. The Executioner from Silent Hill. I have not seen too many matches with him, but he is considered one of the better killers by a lot of people. So check in. I need more information before I judge. The Death Slinger, if he can see you, he can hit you. So he can spear you and then reel you in. He is considered a very good killer. Death Slinger looks like a fun killer. I will be testing him to get you more information about that. The Oni is able to absorb the blood energy of his injured foes, and he can transform into a brutal demon. So he can go really quick. And I have seen a couple of streamers play him, and he seems to be pretty fun, but I need to get him and test him. The Legion is a band of merciless killers. They are considered a good killer. But yeah, Legion, I need more information on Legion as well. But they look fun. The Pig, I've heard mixed things. I've only encountered the Pig like once or twice, but she has reverse bear traps, and they have to remove it before time runs out. So they die instantly. So that's actually kind of cool. I just watched a game where they killed 3 out of 4 the first time because one person found the hatch and escaped. The second one, they got all 4, and they were running a perk that allowed them to be immune to flashlights. So that's another thing. If you're a survivor, you can have a flashlight, and say if I'm the killer and I'm carrying a survivor, another survivor can blind me and force me to drop the other survivor, temporarily blinding me, and I just move forward and try to swing, which has been successful at times. So keep moving if you get blinded and try to get a hit, or look up or the opposite way to avoid the flashlight's blinding ability. The Nightmare I faced, which is Freddy Krueger, I faced up against him. He is challenging to defeat. At first, I read that he was one of the worst killers in the game, but after watching gameplay and playing against him, I can tell you he's not. He sends you to the dream world, and you have to get woken up. There are clocks around the map, which I found a little bit of a trick, is to blow a generator, and that puts you back into the regular world. But if you get into his dream world, you're at a disadvantage. So the Nightmare is actually a pretty tough killer to face, and I need to play as him. Last, well, two more. The Cannibal, which is Leatherface. He has a chainsaw and can do like a speeding frenzy with it. I actually watched somebody go really fast with him and take out people really well. So that's a good one. Another one that is being beta tested now are the twins. It's literally this woman that has a little one in her chest. It's like a baby. If you're playing as the baby, it stops the other killer from moving. But if you can also send out the twin, and the little baby will basically charge at people, but he can be squashed. But it also, if he jumps on somebody, alerts the location, you can take control of him and jump on somebody. And so there are downsides to them, and they are being beta tested right now before they release. But the streamer I watch, once again, True Talent, says he thinks that it might be one of the worst killers in the game, but once again, I think he will be testing more and playing further when that killer comes out. But I do agree that there's going to be a big, steep learning curve to the twins. But yeah, that's Dead by Daylight in a nutshell. And there are blood points that you get, which allow you to get more abilities and everything. I personally enjoy playing the game. I need to just get a day where I get on here and stream for you guys. I do stream on Twitch, Billy the Gamer, and I do try to stream here and there. But yeah, the blood points allow you to buy abilities and such, and then you have your iridescent shards, which you get very slowly, but you can purchase different perks, characters, and customization items in the store. So I need to, and they are required to increase your player level, and they're not capped. So I need to focus on that a little bit more. And blood points are capped at 1,000,000, which if you're gonna get to 1,000,000, it's gonna take you a while. But yeah, I need to get the rest of the killers. And when you buy, you can purchase killers individually, or you can get the pack. So they have like chapters. So there's like Dead by Daylight Descend Beyond chapter, which is for the Blight. The Executioner has a Silent Hill chapter. There's a Chains of Hate chapter, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Saw chapter, the Legion or Darkness Among Us chapter, Cursed Legacy, which is the Oni, and Leatherface. So there's a lot of chapters you can get. And really, I'm only missing Leatherface, the Oni, the Legion, the Pig, the Nightmare, the Deathslinger, the Executioner, and the Blight. I have the rest of the killers that I have either purchased or started with the base game. So my next one I'm probably going to go after is the Deathslinger, because I've heard a lot of good things about the Deathslinger, and then probably the Nightmare and the Cannibal, because you need those iconic characters. Eventually I plan on getting all of them. But those are the killers. And if you play, like I said, that's all the different killers. The survivors, I typically play as my go-to is Nancy Wheeler. Her perks are very strong, so I enjoy playing as her, and I have her up to level 27 right now. Excuse me. So yeah, the survivors I have so far are Dwight Fairfield. He's considered easy to use. Meg Thomas, considered easy to use. Claudette, easy to use. Jake Park, Nia Carlson, Ace Viscani, William Bill Overbeck from Left 4 Dead, Fang Min, Adam Francis, Kate Denson, David King, Laurie Strode from Halloween, Jane Romero, Nancy Wheeler, Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. I have all those. I still have some more I need to get. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to bring you more Dead by Daylight content. Maybe some more streams on Billy the Gamer if you want to check me out on Twitch. I typically stream, it varies, it's kind of random. but I will try to stream a little more often because I do enjoy streaming and I do enjoy watching other streamers at times. But yeah, I'm Billy the Gamer 117, and so tune in sometime, and I will be trying to get some more broadcast up. So yeah, that is all I have for you today. Thank you.